Hello! We have some very exciting news to share with you today.
We sure do.
You might have noticed that we've been a little quiet on this channel. That's because we've been planning, we've been scheming, getting things in order because why, Tim?
We will be traveling for the next 12 months.
A whole year. We are so excited. We can't believe how fortunate we are to be in this position.
Yeah.
Wow.
This last few years has been very challenging for a lot of people through COVID, through redundancy for myself, and through some other personal challenges we've been through. And travel and learning about other cultures has been a big spark of hope for us and it's given us inspiration to carry on.
Yeah, and we've been working pretty intense jobs for a number of years, so we're just looking for a bit of a reset, and then we'll come back to our lives hopefully feeling really enthusiastic and rejuvenated. And yeah, with COVID, it was pretty frightening.
It was.
It made us realize that travel was something that could be taken away from us at any moment.
Yep.
So we want to relish all those opportunities to travel and learn about cultures and taste awesome food and just all of that cool stuff that is part of travel.
That's right. Nothing in life is guaranteed, so we feel like we need to live now and we need to live our dreams. So that is what we're going to do. So in this video, we're going to run you through what we'll be doing this next year, why we're doing it. We're going to also show you some of the locations that we're hoping to go to. And at the end, we're going to discuss the budget, how we've found a way to afford to do this, and hopefully that can demystify the process for others who would also like to take a longer trip.
Absolutely, and it's worth mentioning that some things are meticulously planned, like to the cent,
Yes.
and other things are much looser, and I think that's kind of fun. We want to build in some opportunities for improvisation as well, but it's fair to say that the first half of the year anyway is, quite well planned.
Yeah.
We need to obviously book flights and all the accommodation and all that jazz. On about December 12th, we're actually flying to Australia, mate.
Yes, Australia.
And we'll be in Sydney for a few days.
Yes.
We're really looking forward to that. We're going to be staying quite centrally,
Yeah.
Above a pub actually. It's very humble, as a lot of these places will be. And it's near the Sydney Opera House, obviously an architectural marvel. I just love the vibe of Sydney. It's a good time.
Me too. Though Sydney doesn't really fit the brief of this trip because we're looking for more affordable locations, our flight was taking us there anyway. So we figure if our flight is going to take us through a place, we may as well see that place because we've got some time on our hands. The big challenge with Australia is always budget.
Yes.
So that's why we're staying above a pub. It's a shared bathroom situation, but we have our own bedroom. And we managed to bring that in for about 80 New Zealand dollars a night. So we're going to be eating sandwiches, avoiding buying too many drinks and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to resist that amazing brunch culture as well.
After that, we're flying through to Thailand. So we're going to land in Bangkok. We're going to spend a couple of weeks there. We really want to soak in the energy of the place. One of the big ethoses behind this trip is we're going to choose a single location, book for a longer time, try to get a discount on Airbnb, apps like that will give you a weekly or monthly discount, and just try to get to know the local area, work out where people shop, meet some people, build some relationships, and see the world through a little bit of a different lens. Not always moving.
Yeah, we've never been to Thailand before, but we understand the culture's really vibrant, and I absolutely love Thai food. All those aromatic curries and pad Thai, and it's just got that ooh la la sensation.
Oh, it sure does.
So after we've spent some time in Bangkok, we're also going to be going down to Krabi. So we want to soak in that sun and get that beach experience.
Yeah.
Go on some nature hikes as well. We want to get really fit next year.
We want to get fit.
Yeah, and we're staying in this really cool little, I don't know what you call it, like a bungalow.
Beach hut thing?
Beach hut thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the jungle as well. But it's also not too far from the main drag and the beaches.
Once again, it's a really affordable location. It's cheap to eat there. It's cheap to stay in the accommodation.
Oh, and we should also mention that we're staying in Ao Nang town.
Nang,
Yeah, which looks just exquisite.
Yeah.
And then we're heading up to the north of the country, to the mountainous region, so
Yes.
Chiang Mai.
Chiang Mai.
And that's super duper exciting to us as well. Obviously, there's oodles of temples to explore, but also we're going to be staying the night in a really ethical elephant sanctuary, and that will just be majestic.
It really will be. It's not the typical touristy elephant type experience. So we'll be able to view from afar and really just get to see them in their natural habitat out in the jungle.
Yeah, I think some of the staff members have even been kind of rescued from human trafficking situations, which is just so intense. But yeah, that's obviously part of their ethical philosophy, and we really want to support initiatives like that.
Yeah, which sort of brings me over to part of our philosophy behind where we're traveling is we also want to go to places that are LGBTQ plus accepting. We're not going to go anywhere where it's illegal to be who we are.
Yeah, and parts of these countries are more conservative than others,
Yes.
right? And some of these countries still have a long way to go, especially like legislatively, but even sometimes in terms of social attitudes. But we weren't going to go to any place that is explicitly homophobic
No.
or has laws that are really retrograde.
Yeah, we're not going to spend our money in that way. And wherever possible, we're going to be supporting local businesses that are, making local food, and we're going to avoid the Starbuckses and the big conglomerations wherever possible.
Possible, yeah.
So after Chiang Mai, we're going to fly through to Vietnam. We're going to land in Hanoi, which looks like a super interesting and vibrant place.
Yeah.
We have a crazy Airbnb there with like weird art on the wall and like strange curtains.
Kind of a hippie aesthetic actually, but lots of big windows, so natural light. Yeah, it looks like such a good time.
Really cheap, like $30 a night to have our own Airbnb.
Vietnam obviously has such an interesting history, so I want to go to some war museums and just see everything the country has to offer, because I know that it's become an absolute tourist hub in recent years. It's a place where a lot of digital nomads flock as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really interesting. We're also going to Da Nang,
Yes.
in the center of the country, so another beachy location. We have a really cute little apartment, not super spacious, but pretty high up, so you get some awesome views.
Yeah, it's sort of a bit of a beachy place.
Yeah.
That's one of the few places where we've spent a tiny bit more because we're going to be near the beach and we're going to have views of the ocean and stay in like a hotel-y thing. But just for a number of days, the majority of the time will be spent in cheaper Airbnbs in the bigger cities.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be really hot as well. That's going to take some time to acclimate to.
Yeah.
But we will just throw our bodies into the blue ocean. I cannot wait.
We will, and we'll get out early in the morning while it's a bit cooler,
Yeah.
and come home with the air conditioning on during the day, and where we can film some of our content for Kiwi Vision and stuff.
Yeah, Kiwis are not very resilient when it comes to the weather, so
No.
watch us complain about the humidity.
We sure will. After that, we're going to Ho Chi Minh City,
Yeah.
which is going to be super fun. And we found quite an eclectic kind of hotel to stay at there that's sort of quite stylish, but came in at a really amazing price.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that just continues to blow our mind is we're living in a very expensive country, New Zealand. The savings that we have goes a long way in Southeast Asia. So that enables us to go for a little bit of a longer trip rather than just taking a 2-week holiday here and there every other year. It's like we want to bite off more than that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Ho Chi Minh, it's going to be pure hustle and bustle.
Yes.
Bring on the street food.
Yeah, so we're a whole month in Thailand and we're a whole month in Vietnam. So.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get a real good sense of the country. We can behave like locals do a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
We'll try to learn a little bit of the local language, get to know some
That's
of
a respect thing, right?
the local dishes, and try to look through a different lens.
Right, and then after that, we're actually going to Taiwan, the island.
That's right.
Now, some people have asked us, why Taiwan? That seems kind of random. But for us, it was a no-brainer. Actually, Taiwan has legalized same-sex marriage. So politically, we just really wanted to support that country and spend our money there.
Yes.
We know they have an awesome Pride Parade every year. And also there's that really cute Studio Ghibli kind of inspired town.
Yeah.
But we'll mainly be staying in Taipei.
Yes. Seems like a super kind and welcoming place, and I think the fusion of some of the Chinese culture and some of the Japanese culture coming together to make a unique culture for Taiwan, I think that's going to be really cool to experience. We're actually going to take it real slow when we're there, so we're going to be there for a little over 3 weeks. We're staying in one Airbnb the whole time.
Yep, another elevated place with a really awesome view.
Yeah.
Some lush greenery.
Yep.
Kind of hilly.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that will be a little bit of an artist's retreat for us.
Yes.
So I'm really interested in fiction writing, and Tim likes to make music. So
Yeah.
we're thinking, well, there's an awesome opportunity to do something that feeds our creative soul.
Yeah, so it won't all be making video content, though we will keep having regular video releases, but we're also going to work on some other artistic projects as well.
Yeah.
You may hear some of the little tunes I make show up in our videos, and we'll be sure to fill you in on what we achieve.
Yeah. Some of you also know that we have a Eurovision commentary channel, which is a wee bit niche, but that brings us a lot of joy. So we'll keep making those videos because Eurovision is in May, I think.
Yes.
And there's lots of things that happen in the build-up. So we'll be
Yes.
tuning those out where we have the opportunity as well.
So it'll be nice to just be parked up for a few weeks. We'll be sort of 20 minutes away from town on one train line, but it gets cheaper if you get a little bit out of town, it gets cheaper. And if you book for multiple weeks or even a month, often Airbnb will give you a 40 or even 50%
Yeah.
discount, which is the case here. So it's a nice place, but it's coming on budget because we're staying for longer.
Yeah, we're trying to be tactical, make our money go as far as possible.
Yeah, we have to.
It's a whole year, like
Yeah.
we've got to make this work. We
Yes.
have to be disciplined.
So after Taiwan, we are going to Korea. We're going to South Korea. So we're going to land in Seoul. We were going to be there for about a week.
Yes.
Once again, another Airbnb. We've booked for the whole
Yeah.
week, got a discount.
Our original accommodation actually has just cancelled on us,
Yeah.
saying that they need to have extensive renovations done.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a moment of panic. But we've actually found something even better.
Yeah.
Perhaps not quite as central, but I think will fit our needs much more nicely.
We'll be fun. We'll be out by the airport
Yeah.
where there will be lots of transport options.
Yeah, metro.
Yeah, so I think we'll be just fine. We have to compromise on location to meet our budget.
Yeah.
But we just make sure that there's good public transport. I don't mind sitting in a bus or a train for 20 or 30 minutes to get myself back into that key area. Happy to do that every day and then go for a walk. That's absolutely fine by me.
And then we're heading down to Busan, which looks positively magical. Again, it's on the
does.
coast,
Incredible.
beautiful temples.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing beaches and cool food scene. It can be a little bit of an expensive location, so
it's
we're
very
going to have to be
trendy.
very, very careful with the budget here. But once again, we found an Airbnb that did a longer stay discount. It actually came in at a very reasonable price. And we will just pick up food from the convenience stores. We have a little kitchen, so we will cook some of our meals. And we will just live humbly, go for walks every day, meet the locals. We will avoid doing all the touristy things and taking lots
We
of
might do some of them, but we'll just be really choosy when it comes to those
choosy.
things.
Yeah, if it costs $100 each, it would have to be absolutely amazing for us to do it.
Yeah.
We will do everything that's free and cheap.
Yeah, another good thing about Korea is that it has a great coffee culture. And for me, if I don't have my morning caffeine, I am subhuman. So that will save me, I think.
Yeah, and I think that will be a cool, cultures coming together because New Zealand has a huge cafe culture. We're passionate about cafes, and so does Korea. So it'll be really interesting to see how those cultures come together in the cafe scene.
And then from there, we're actually going to one of our favorite places on earth,
Right.
the wonderful Nippon or Japan. And we are flying into Osaka.
Yes, we are.
We chose Osaka rather than Tokyo, although we are going to Tokyo, but not for as long a period of time. But we chose Osaka because it was a fair bit cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
Still a big
Yeah.
city. It's one we haven't seen before, and we understand the food culture is absolutely divine, particularly if you're a fan of the seafood, which I am not, especially.
I like a bit of seafood.
But
yeah.
you are quite daring, and there are local dishes like takoyaki, the deep fried octopus balls that we will likely try. Just to have that
I'll
full
definitely
experience.
try that. Yeah, it'd be yum. When we've told some of our friends about Japan, they've been surprised that we're going there on our budget. But we've found a way to make it work. And the key to it is Osaka is one of the more reasonably priced locations in Japan that is still really well connected with lots to do.
Yeah, really close to places like Kyoto and Nara.
Yeah, but a lot cheaper than staying in Kyoto. Once again, we've found an Airbnb that's given us a big discount to stay for a whole month. And we know from past experience visiting Japan in the past, if you go to the 7-Eleven, you go to the local restaurant, you go to the street food vendors, food can be very affordable.
Yeah.
It's when you're in the tourist hotspots and it's like a highly rated, trendy restaurant, that's when you're going to be in for a big bill. And when you're on a short holiday, that's a lovely thing to do. We did that lots. We spent $100 on dinner multiple times when we were visiting Japan the first time, but we'll avoid that because we know you can have a good meal in Japan for $10 or under.
Yeah, the convenience store game is so high.
It
is our lunches sorted, and they're really decent meals too. Delicious.
Yeah, it's like all there in one box, like whole meals for under $10.
Yeah, bento boxes.
Yeah.
And also like onigiri and other bits and
Yeah.
pieces. And the bread is so soft and fresh.
Oh yeah,
Sweet.
I am not above just having some like noodles or like a sandwich, something like that for my meal. So we'll live humbly in Japan, but we will get out there and see as much as we can using the local public transport network that takes you to a lot of places within that kind of region for a fair price. And we'll also be avoiding the bullet trains in Japan because they're quite expensive.
They're an amazing technological advancement, but they are quite expensive.
Yeah, so we will take buses instead of bullet trains for about a third of the price. It just takes a lot longer, which I know does not make sense if you're in Japan for a short time, but when you're in Japan for longer, I think sitting on that bus for 10 hours is probably going to be worth having that extra $100 in your pocket.
Yeah, again, we'll inconvenience ourselves just to stretch the budget a bit. We have to. We'll also be spending some time in Hakone, which is a place that we've been to before.
Yes.
There's a lovely lake and the most incredible views of Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
Like behind us.
Yeah. We're not going to stay in actual Hakone. We're going to stay in a local town nearby that's a lot cheaper. And we're going to pick up a pass that gets us all the tourist attractions on all the transport for one fixed price. So the few days we're going to be there, we'll have lots of activities we can do, all for a really reasonable price.
There's a cable car that takes you up to this volcanic area.
Yeah.
There's an open air Picasso museum.
Yes,
Try and
incredible.
pop into an onsen. Oh, so much to do.
Yeah. Then we're going to head through to Tokyo, where we're going to spend a week in Tokyo as well. We're going to stay in like a budget, like business kind of hotel, quite small and simple. Unfortunately, the price here is getting a bit higher, but we thought we're going to fly out of Tokyo anyway. Let's at least spend a few days in Tokyo to see it. And when it all mapped out, the cheapest flight we could get was a few days out from what we had planned. So it ended up being a whole week in Tokyo, but the flight we booked was a few $100s cheaper than we had planned. So that sort of pays for those extra days.
And as you probably know, Japan is this most amazing fusion of futurism
Yes.
and tradition. And so we want to see both of those worlds.
So that gets us all the way through to May.
Yeah.
Where we will come back to New Zealand briefly. We will go to our friend's beautiful wedding, which we're both going to be involved in.
Yeah.
We will catch up with our beautiful cats, which my parents are going to be looking after.
We're really going to miss the cats, not seeing them for a whole year, because they are our
That's
fur
the
babies.
hardest part is going to be saying goodbye to the cats.
But they'll be fine. They're really resilient, particularly the older one.
Yeah.
And because she's going to be living at the beach, she'll
Yeah.
have much more room to go exploring. And she probably won't want to come back to us at the
She
end,
probably
actually.
won't want to come back because at the moment they live in an apartment.
Yeah.
They do have access to the outside, but yeah, they're going to love the beach for a year. So.
Yeah, they'll want to be emancipated, I think, when we get back.
So when we're back, it's just for a couple of weeks. It'll be a nice opportunity to catch up with some friends and family before we take off on the second part of our big trip.
Indeed.
So for part 2 of this wild 12-month adventure, we will be heading through to Europe. This part of the plan is less well organised. It's still
Not set in stone.
It's not set in
stone. A little more amorphous.
Yeah, less of it's booked. So we will probably adapt this plan, but we'll give you a brief outline of sort of what we're hoping to achieve anyway. Once again, we're going to need to find locations that are more affordable to live in so we can stretch the dollar.
So we'll be flying into London. That's our landing point from New Zealand.
Yes, not cheap.
No, and so we'll spend maybe a weekend in London.
Yeah.
Possibly go to a West End show. We're still debating whether to do
That's
that.
a big dream of ours.
But as musical theatre lovers, I think that's something you probably have to do.
I think so. And there's actually quite a lot of different venues there.
Yeah.
We might find something that's fun and affordable.
Actually, there are some shows that are really cost effective. So we
Yeah.
just need to do our research, make a decision. It'll be nice to see something, I think.
We'll see. Yeah, hopefully we will.
But instead of spending ages in London, which
Yes.
would be brutal to our bank account,
Yep.
we're going to be going up to Manchester.
Yes. Yeah.
And we settled on Manchester after doing some research.
Yep.
We're really interested in the Working Class Museum.
Yeah.
There's some really cool areas, neighbourhoods that we want to check out. And again, quite an interesting food culture.
It's a place that really appeals, and I think we'll find a lot of like-minded individuals there and really enjoy the arts sort of scene. And yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. And you can live there so much cheaper than in London.
Yeah.
Still not going to be cheap, so we won't be there for ages. But we'll take the time to check it out properly.
Yeah, definitely. We'll also pop over and see Liverpool, which is really close as well.
Yes.
Obviously, the homeland of the Beatles.
Yeah.
And the Scouse accent,
Yeah.
which is, woo, it's awesome.
Yeah. We'll be like speaking the same language, but we won't be able to understand a word.
And then we'll be actually heading up to Scotland.
Yes. So in Scotland, we both have some of our sort of family heritage from way back in the day. So that'll be kind of interesting to kind of meet the Scottish people. I also have a family member living over there who we'll get to catch up with and maybe stay some nights with.
And Dundee.
Dundee.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I will also be spending some time in Edinburgh.
Yes.
Can't wait to see that castle. Can't wait to walk those Diagon Alley streets.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty cool. But
Well,
very expensive as well.
It is expensive, but what we think in the more expensive locations, we move a little bit faster. And if we need to stay in a hostel, if we need to stay in a bunk scenario, we'll do that for a night or two.
We'll make that work.
That'll be worth it. And then we will quite quickly make our way into some of the more affordable locations in Europe where we can slow back down and get back into the swing of living in a place for a long time.
Then it will be back down to London and then into France, actually.
Yes.
We're looking at a town called Honfleur,
Yes.
which looks very idyllic. We might spend some time there. We might see Paris, we might not.
Yeah.
It is a pretty amazing city. And we really liked our last visit there. We found the people so warm and hospitable.
Yep. Yeah, that might be another one where we do a night in the hostel in Paris,
Yeah.
but we set ourselves up in a cheap Airbnb somewhere else. France wasn't on the plan, but we've done a bit of research and we found some Airbnbs that are actually like $60 to $70 a night out in some of the smaller towns. So we figure, hey, why not do a week or so there as well?
And then we're heading up to the Netherlands and, of course,
Yes.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So that'll be really pretty, seeing some of that countryside and then all the canals in the city.
Yeah.
And the nightlife is legendary, of course.
Yeah, once again, this is an expensive location, so you probably now think we're crazy, but it just feels like something we have to see.
And there's a good hostel
Yeah,
culture.
there's a good hostel
There are plenty
culture.
of backpackers doing this for cheap.
We will not be there long. We will be there for a short time, and we will be making our own lunches and stuff. After that, we're going to head to Germany, where we are going to go to Berlin. We sort of ummed and ahed about a few locations in Germany, but Berlin seemed to be the one that sort of had the grit and the personality that
Grunge.
appealed to us the most, and we wanted to just choose one location to save on cost. We'll be taking a budget flight over, most likely, or a series of cheap buses, in which case we may stay an extra night or two on the way.
So we'll be coming to you live vlogging from a heavy metal gig.
Yeah, definitely. It just seems like a really cool place, and it was a place where we could find accommodation where it would work on our budget. Once again, not for ages, but for a little bit longer stay than some of the locations prior.
Yeah, we have thought about potentially going to see the Porsche factory, so whether we can factor that into our plans. Tim's absolutely obsessed with Porsches.
I'm a Porsche fanatic.
His true love in life. I'm secondary.
No, you are number one, baby. You are number one. I would love to see the Porsche museum. There are sort of experiences you can have. A lot of it's very expensive and it's a bit out of our way. So I quite happily would set that aside for a different trip that's higher budget and shorter on time. I think in this case, if it's cheaper for us just to go straight to Berlin and live cheaply in a place we got a big discount on, then I'm happy to do that. Some compromises have to be made on this trip, so are we just being smart about what those compromises are and making sure we're not sacrificing anything that is, really, really important to us?
And then after Germany, we're actually heading to the Czech Republic, which
Yes.
we've heard lots of things about. Our friends that have been to Prague have just absolutely raved about it.
Yeah.
And we're going to spend, a whole month
About
there?
a month there.
Yeah.
We're going to slow back down again.
Yeah, again, very cost effective, a lot of
Yes.
interesting history there. I know nothing about the language, we'll have to upskill.
We'll have to upskill.
But it just looks so dreamy.
Yeah, they also manufacture some awesome electronics.
Yeah, they do.
It seems like a place that's really on a comeuppance at the moment. Their economy's doing better, and there's a lot of beautiful old architecture, and it's just a wonderful European location that you can do on a lower budget. Our accommodation there is going to be like 45 to 50 New Zealand dollars a night, so very reasonable.
Looking forward to all that Gothic architecture. And then we're heading down into Austria.
Yes.
Which is, wow, a big country. It's kind of hard to know where to start with that one. And our
Yeah.
plans are not solid at all.
Yep.
But we do want to see some mountains, maybe near Switzerland.
Yep.
We possibly want to see Vienna, because I've heard that's a really lovely place to spend some time.
Yeah.
But we'll just need to be really careful about our budget. And we won't be spending too much time in Austria. We're really transiting through. Because we are getting to Croatia. Is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. Croatia just looks like a really amazing place. I think it is getting to the point where it's a little bit more overrun with tourists.
Yeah.
So what we might look to do is find something a little bit off the beaten track, where once again we can get an Airbnb and settle down and just get to know that area.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a very beautiful place.
It's
So
no longer the world's best kept secret, I don't think.
no, I think
Yeah.
Game of Thrones blew that wide open.
Right, Dubrovnik, we want to see that. Split looks really awesome, but
Yes.
again, I'm sure there'll be loads and loads of tourists there. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll be tourists, so we can't talk.
We can't talk,
Yeah.
but we'll find a cute little apartment or a cute little cottage or something, just a little bit off the beaten track, where we have access to the things we need, but also can live a little bit of a slower, quieter time. We'll be there for at least a few weeks.
I think we're also visiting Serbia after that.
We are.
Another place that won't break the bank.
No.
And I just think it deserves a reappraisal.
Yes.
A lot of people have avoided traveling to Serbia in the past. Obviously, there's a really complex history there. But from what we know about the country, there's actually lots to see and do, and the people are really nice. So bring it on.
This is a location that actually our love for Eurovision's put it
Yeah.
on the map. Their entries have been super unique.
Yeah, and actually a
and
thriving LGBT scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a lot of queer people who applied to go, and they sent Luke Black, who's a really awesome queer artist. After Serbia, we're going to check out Greece. So we are going to head into Athens, and we just love, I think it's once again going to have a bit of what Berlin has to offer, where it's a bit of a grittier place, but more punk rock. really thriving young people that enjoy the nightlife and
Delicious street food.
affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah, a really affordable location.
I'm obsessed with Greek mythology and just learning about ancient empires, so that will be super interesting for me. We will be checking out some of the islands.
Yes.
Again, we might go for some of them that are less frequented.
Yeah, yeah. We'll look at the ones that are the easiest to get to or the most affordable to get to, so we're not having to spend lots of money on a luxury tour. We won't be doing any of that.
Yeah, but we'll be spending about a month in Greece again,
Yeah.
just immersing ourselves in the culture. I understand that it's another really vibrant and bold culture,
Yeah.
really cool music scene.
Yeah.
So I don't think I want to leave when I arrive in
No,
Greece.
I don't think so. Yeah, we're going to love it. After that, we're probably going to head to a bit of southern Italy. We haven't done southern Italy.
We are obsessed with Italia. Some of you will know that already. We love the music. We love the food.
We do.
We love virtually everything about the damn country.
Yeah, we do. And we've never been south, so we're going to fly right into the south and we'll set up somewhere for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We'll try do the same thing. We were a little bit away from the tourist hotspots, so the prices come down, but hopefully on a bus route or something, so we can get into where we want to be.
Definitely. If we can find a concert by Blanco or Mahmood or Aladi
I would
or
die.
Irama or just someone that would actually just make our
I
life.
would die
Would
of
be deceased.
happiness. In fact, I will take a train many hours to find that concert, so we may end up like in Rome or something for a night going to a concert.
I think we'll spend a bit more time in Naples as well. We only spent an evening there. We really didn't do it justice.
It wasn't enough.
The main focus was Pompeii, Mount Vesuvius.
Yeah, so there's a bit more to be done in Italy. We ummed and ahed about whether we should skip that because we've already been twice, but we were like, you know what, there's more to see, and it's en route to Spain, which is where we're going.
Yeah.
So yeah, some cheap flights from Athens through to southern Italy, and then some cheap flights through to Spain.
Also, let's be honest, White Lotus probably inspired us to go to Palermo, for instance.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
So the prices are probably going up there now.
True.
But
We have to be cautious.
yeah, we'll just set ourselves a little bit off the beaten track.
Definitely. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
And then, as mentioned, we're going to Spain. Oh, we might go to Malta in between.
We may go to Malta.
We haven't worked that out yet, but
yeah, if we can.
Yeah.
If we can. It's all comes down to, can we get an affordable flight? Can we find affordable accommodation? If the answer is yes, then we'll do it. But if the answer is no, then sometimes it's cheaper to just blow through to the next location, stay a little bit longer, and reduce those additional flights, those additional costs.
Yeah, definitely. So Spain, we're not quite sure what's going to happen. We'll probably spend some time in Barcelona, Valencia, Madrid.
Yeah, we'll try and find somewhere affordable to set up for a couple of weeks, but we'll see some of those locations briefly, even if it's a night in a hostel or a budget hotel. Some of those locations can be expensive, but Spain as a whole isn't expensive, so we just have to make sure we're living like the locals and not like the tourists. Spain is just going to be a wonderful location for food, for music, for the vibrant
Nightlife,
culture.
people like to dance. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm expecting a few hangovers there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And then afterwards, we're going to Portugal.
That's right.
Another picture-perfect location. We will probably stay in Porto. It's a little bit cheaper than Lisbon.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
I don't think dramatically cheaper, but enough that it made a difference for us in our planning.
It did, yeah.
But we'll probably see both.
We'll see
and
both.
We probably want to see some of the countryside as well, just what the country fully has to offer, and eat all of those egg tarts that we can get our hands on.
Yes. Portuguese tarts, one of the wonders of the world. Absolutely divine. And you've got to go to Portugal if you're doing the whole like traveling the world type thing. I know a lot of people set themselves up there as digital nomads. It's an affordable location that's very, very beautiful. So
Interesting naval history. Yeah, I want to delve deep into that.
definitely. And that about summarizes it. Then we will make our way back to New Zealand, however is most affordable, likely back to Heathrow Airport and back. There's probably going to be a few little extra stops along the way, especially when we're taking long bus rides through Europe to save money. They'll stop in places and we will have a night here, a night there. So it's going to be one big, long adventure.
Yes, definitely. And we know that things won't work out perfectly. We might need to problem solve as we go, but we're very prepared for that. We're in a mindset for adventure.
That's right. Now on to the final section of this video. I'm going to talk a little bit on budget. Now, if you are interested in a really detailed breakdown of how we're paying for this in a really granular, like spreadsheet type thing, let me know. I could do that and break down the expenses for you. But to give you a quick summary, we're paying for this trip with savings that we've built up over the last few years. Part of that came from me being made redundant in COVID, which was a really sad situation, but the silver lining was they really looked after me and they paid me out some money, which I've been able to save away for a rainy day, and this feels like the perfect perfect opportunity to spend that.
But we've made the decision together that we will spend a big portion of our savings because we think this trip has real value to our lives and it will enrich us as people.
That's right. The amount we're spending is probably quite similar to the price of a nice new car. We're working with a budget of around 50,000 New Zealand dollars. What's really making this possible is we're going to eliminate as many of our New Zealand expenses as possible. One of the reasons why it's so expensive to travel is we already live in an expensive country with a cost of living crisis.
Ooh, yes, it's brutal.
And when you're overseas, you're paying for nice hotels, nice food, flights, and you're still paying your rent, you're still paying your mortgage, you're still paying all your bills here in New Zealand at the same time. So this trip's not going to be like that. We're going to rent our home out. So that's going to cover our mortgage expenses. It's not going to cover all of our expenses. There's still things like the body corporate fee and the rates that we're going to be paying out of pocket ourselves.
But it makes it viable. And we're totally comfortable taking that economic hit. Money isn't everything. Stuff isn't everything. It's about experiences to us. And we must also recognize our privilege. Like we own a home and that has enabled this trip to be possible or advisable. So we know that a lot of people would travel much more if they were in the financial position to do so. So we are totally lucky. We don't take that for granted whatsoever.
Yeah, we do not take that for granted for a second.
Okay, well I think that kind of wraps it up.
It does.
So if you'd like to follow our adventures next year, we'd really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
A priority for us is to keep growing our channel.
Yeah.
And we just really hope to share our experiences next year with you, educate where possible, but mainly just share our observations and impressions of the places we go to.
Yeah, and you'll be able to see what it's like to travel on a budget and what it was really like.
Okay, super excited.
Yes.
It's happening.
Woohoo!
Okay, that's all from us.
See you later.
Ka kite.
Bye.